Morning, guys. How you doing this morning? Well, ooh, today I decided to go ahead and I'm going to tell you another one of mine and Garland's escapade in our research. One of these events that I'm going to tell you about happened around about 5 years ago. And this event that I'm going to explain to you was probably one on the top of my list that almost, before the day was up that day, it almost turned into a horrific situation. Now, I've explained throughout the years that the fact that the kind of research I do, it can be very dangerous at times. More than you think, more than you'll ever know. Because not just other predators in the forest you have to be concerned about as you're conducting research. It's also what I call the main predator in the Sierra Nevada mountains, which is Sasquatch. So that being said and done, let me go ahead and get started with the story. So on this particular day, I and Garland, we loaded our gear, threw it in the vehicle and whatever, and we went up to the Sierras, as we normally would do. On this particular day, we were in an area that is called Mosquito Ridge. And it's also one of the areas where, during the gold rush days, was full of miners and pioneers. We ended up finding this one particular area that it just struck me the moment I saw it. And me and Garland, we just looked at each other, and we both had these smiles on our faces, and I said, man, this is squatchy as hell up here. He confirmed, and so we went in. We went as deep as we could drive in. We parked it, got out, loaded our gear up, took what we needed, and we took off. We hiked in at that point probably about, I would say maybe 5 to 6 miles in. At this time it was, probably about, I'd say about 10:30 a.m. So we got to this one area, and I decided to start communicating by wood knocking. So on this particular day, of course, I had my wood knocking stick with me, and I commenced to start communicating. I did this for about 5 minutes. No response. Then, probably within a few minutes after that, we got a response. The response that we received from it came off to the flank of our left. There was a stream that went down there, and it was like a gully with a stream going down. And so I started communicating again, started wood knocking some more. The next thing I realized, both of us, that then we were getting knocks that were coming in front of us. I just sat there and I thought, the ones to the left, I wonder if that's one flanked us and came up and got in front of us. Well, this kind of event went on for about, I'd say about maybe 10, 15 minutes. And this was nothing but wood knocking. We were just communicating back and forth. Then it went quiet for about a minute or two. And then, out of the blue, they start communicating. They were communicating with us on their own this time. But the difference was, there was knocks coming in the front of us from our left side, our right side, and the rear of us. And they were kind of like bouncing around, you know, almost kind of like a surround sound, you know, you hear it bouncing, moving around. And it just quit. And we knew at that moment, that very instant, we knew we were surrounded. Surrounded by what? Well, we were surrounded by a group of Sasquatches. Or basically what I call them, and classify them as, because this is what they are. They're hybrids from early hominids. Now, when the knocking quit, Garland and I, we were conversing with each other in a very subtle, low vocalized manner, so not for them to listen to us, so to speak. And at that time, we knew there was sets of eyes on us, watching us. And we started feeling a little bit uncomfortable because of the fact we were surrounded, because when we were surrounded, there was no way to go. There was no escape. And so I always tell people that if you have an interaction as such, the worst thing you could do is panic. That's what you don't want to do. Keep your mind in focus on the situation is a better deal. And that's what me and G did. And I decided, I told him, I says, look, let's backtrack, let's get the hell out of here. I got a feeling something might go south. And at that time, I had my sidearm and G had a rifle. And I'm thinking, I hope to God we don't have to use these. I really don't want to use them. But if I have to, I will. That's always been my motto. So, very carefully, very quietly, we reversed course and we started backtracking. We started heading back to where we came from, and to get to some kind of clarity of safety. And I just didn't like the fact of being surrounded. As we were backtracking, and I distinctly remember, as we were backtracking, now I'm heading back south, and then at that point, where it was to the left of me, now it's to the right of me, there was one of them that was going along the stream down below us in the gully. You could hear him walking right along with us, because they'll do that, they'll walk with you parallel. But in reality, what they're doing is they're flanking you. And you'll never know if they're going to come to your front, your rear, or your flank. You just don't know. And the movement was getting down to, at my right at that time, the movement was getting really, really loud. I mean, he was intentionally making, how would I say, different types of noises and sounds and such to, you know, screw with you mentally. And we we kept on moving at an even pace. And then we heard something off to our right. Now I got one, I mean to my left. I got one to my left and I got one to my right. It's as if they were literally escorting us out of their territory. And from my own experience of it being a group itself, because they are territorial, and especially when they're a group, they're even more territorial. So we knew that we were flat in the middle of their territory, just groups. So we ended up in the area, in one particular area where we thought we'd be okay. Everything was kind of cool at this point in time. Everything got really quiet. Then, slightly off to our left, as me and Garland, we were conversing about what we just experienced. And as we were talking away, but not loud, you know, very subtle. And there was this huge fallen tree that was off to our left. And we heard some movement, and then all of a sudden we turned real quick and looked to our left, and 2 deer popped out from behind the fallen tree. One went to the left, one went to the right. And we were close enough we could see the expression on their face, so to speak. And they were spooked as hell. Something scared the living hell out of those deer, and they fueled it. I mean, it startled us, because they were bedding down. They were bedded down, obviously, and they just sprung up that quick. There was a reason why we didn't know it at the time. I remember I told Garland, I said, something spooked the hell out of these deer. And whatever it is, it's here. And we just looked at each other. We didn't say nothing at that point. We were just listening. I said, well, the last thing I really said in that last moment, I said, why don't we just take a little breather and let's consume everything we've been experiencing. So we took a little break there, and right off and to my left, and now it's in front of me, because here's the trail, and there was all these thickets and brushes, and it mixed in with it was all these thick pines, okay? And I don't know why I did this, but it's just, I don't know, I just did. That's all I could say. I have no answer why I did this one thing, but I just went and did it. Garland turned and looked at me, he says, what are you doing? I didn't say nothing. I walked right up to where this one area, the thickets were at. And I kind of went like this, you know, I kind of bent down like that and kind of half squat position, and I'm looking, trying to pierce through the thickets. I'll tell you right now, all of a sudden, it was as if my eyes met something else's eyes. And this whole area right here that was in front of me, these thick pines, all of a sudden you heard branches break like bam, 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 like right now, and it's like what they will do sometimes, because they're so big and massive. On the upper part of their body, they got huge chests. Their chests of the males, they're so huge. And to intimidate the hell out of us, what this hybrid did is he literally thrust in through his massive size, and he smacked into those thickets. And I'm going to tell you what, it scared the living shit out of Garland and I. I jumped back probably 5 feet. I pulled my .45 out. G jumped back, must have been 10 feet, and he pulled the rifle up. And I mean, I could actually see the brush, the thickets, just like something was behind it breathing, you know what I'm saying? And it just, I mean, it happened so fast, so quick. I mean, this was like in a split second. Then, right after that, we heard some heavy grunts, some growling, deep gruntle type growling, and we heard it walk off. You could hear really heavy thump type steps. This guy was huge, obviously. And I'm going to tell you something. Out of all the years I've been doing this, and all the years that G was with me, which was for about 10 years, we had never, ever been scared out of the saddle like that before. Or I should, well, not really scared, I should say startled. It startled the hell out of us. And I'd never seen G so rattled. I mean, his his chain got really rattled big time, and he was just speechless. And even when it happened, I could see, for momentarily, I could see the expression on Garland's face, and I mean, it was like a look of shock and awe, because that's exactly what it was, shock and awe, man. Big dog. And the good thing about the situation was that, you know, I'm really thankful we didn't have to use our weapons, because I wouldn't really want to do that. But like I said, if I had to, I would have fired. But I'm also telling you this too, if you were not armed, if you did not know what you were dealing with in those moments, you most likely might have been a victim. And you wouldn't want that, believe me. If he really wanted to, he could have broke that brush and been on us in a half a second, blink of an eye. Could have just ripped us all to pieces, both of us. But that didn't happen. The conclusion of that one situation was, that was called pure, raw intimidation to the max. Because then, as I still believe now, it could have went south so quick, so fast, and out of control. That's a fact. And that's why I always say, if you're going to do this, what I do, man, you gotta be careful, and you have to stay in focus at all times. If we were not aware of our surroundings and not aware of what we were dealing with, it would have definitely probably went south. I also got the notion that maybe these hybrids might have sensed the same thing, where because of the fact I'm more than sure they're used to doing this to others. And it's the fact that we didn't in any way, shape, or form panic or run or anything like that. And because taking off running in a panic from any predators is the worst thing you could do, because you're inviting that predator to pounce on your ass. You don't ever do that. Stand your ground. No matter what, you stand your ground. No matter how hairy it gets, stand your ground. Stay in focus. So, and the other thing it told me that day, that there was no ifs or buts about it. They communicate exactly how early man did millions of years ago. Because you see, two particular species, which I always mention, and the reason is because those are the origins of what we know today as Sasquatch. And those to particular early human species who are also the longest living humans, early humans on record. They communicated by rock knocking and also by wood knocking, as these guys did that day, and as they have throughout the years that I've been doing my research. And it's just a form of communicating, and it's very effective, very effective. So anyway, we ended up we got out of there safe and sound, and boy, we had a lot to talk about all the way out of there. And even hours later, I mean, you know, G was still pretty shooken up. I mean, he was just couldn't believe what we had experienced and what had happened. But between you and me, when I went down and looked in there and our eyes met, I thought for sure it was gonna come out and it was gonna confront us. I mean, I was waiting for it. That's the only reason I drew my gun, because that's what I thought was going to happen, and the best thing to do, I'm the kind of guy, I got good quick reflexes, and that was one of the days I needed it bad. Thank God I have them. And now you could say maybe when he saw me pull the gun, that maybe backed him off. That's a possibility. But between you and me, I don't think so. So, like I said, something like that could have went south very quick. But anyway, that was one of the few horrific interactions we've had with these hybrids. We've had a few more, but I put this one on top 10 on my list. And but like I said, there was other times too. Maybe I'll get around to tell you those too. And I normally wouldn't talk about, you know, some of these experiences that we've had, you know, but due to the way the environment is right now, because the way the winter turned out, it's really made my research out in the field really, really difficult. And a lot of times I want to go out, but things just turn out. It's just not worth. It's not worth going for it. Not at this point in time. I actually believe, since I've been here in this area, other part of the Sierras, I'm starting to believe that some of them might migrate down to the lower part of the valley, and because that's where the deer go, and I think they're like their early ancestors, they follow the food, and I believe that's where quite a few of them ended up. They migrated down lower level to get out of the environment up here. I know what they eat. I know what they have to have, and it's just not available right now. So that's what I'm thinking is probably why it's been kind of difficult at this point in time to even know where they're at, or even have an experience with one. And even myself, it's been weeks now. Probably think it's maybe 2 weeks now since they were in the back of my place. And but I think today's spring. Little spring's coming. They'll be coming. The ones that migrated, they'll be back up here, and the action's going to start again. So who knows? I'm really curious on what I'm dealing with here. What kind of hybrids are these? One thing I can tell you these guys they stay hidden very well, more than most of them I've dealt with, and there's got to be some reasons for that, and I'm gonna have to figure that out. I will come to a conclusion of what's going on up here on that, and if any other type of cryptid creatures happen to fall in place, we'll see if we can deal with that too. Anyway, I hope you like that story, and that is everything I tell you is factual and it's truthful. Don't ever let yourself get in that kind of a situation though, because it's something that, if, like I said, if it went south, there's no way in hell you could deal with it. It's over, man. So that's why I always say, give these guys a hell of a lot of respect. Keep your distance if you can. And if you happen to wander in their territory, find a way to get out. It's a better deal. So anyway, I'll let you guys go now. I was thinking about the story I just told you last night, and I thought, damn, I think I'll just go ahead and tell you about it. But that's what happened. So, let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Guys, take care. See you next time.